Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Gears of War 4 Inconceivable difficulty video walkthrough. This is Act 4-3, Knock Knock, and this first fight has a wonderful checkpoint, so don't mess it up. But if you sprint forward with your grenades on, you can see all the nests. So there's that nest, and then be very careful what you do next, because the Mulcher is a goddamn genius. He's a wizard with that machine. He will put you down so fast, it's borderline obnoxious. But the big weakness of the Scion Mulcher, if you don't realise, is that he gets a bit too ambitious with his gun, and he has to wait for it to cool down. And he shakes the gun, and then he'll say, like, shredding, or whatever he says when he's firing. They've all... suppressing, there you go. So, he says suppressing. Whenever he says that, it means he's about to fire. You do not want to be there when he does that. Sounds really easy, as we stare at that awful looking drippy testicle on the ceiling that would be wonderful to drop on him, but I have no idea where he is in the grand context of the environment. But just keep shooting him. Mark him, shoot him. If you've got anything bigger, go for those big headshots. If you can use a torque bow, it will instantly kill him if you headshot him. And now we have elite Republican guards. Now these are the elite drones. These guys are terrifying. They're more aggressive, they're more intelligent, and they're very dangerous. They come with lancers, they run around, you know, they can't swim, they attract sharks. They're really, really bad news. But I'm going to be bitching it up, something fierce, on this doorway, shooting around it and taking this really, really slowly. The only real threat here is if you get rushed, and the sniper that's going to turn up. But these elites, in this fight right here, they feel scary. They feel just like when the Theron guards first showed up. Look at this! Look at this dickhead! And then I'm going to actually win a chainsaw battle, which is a rare sight on a Inconceivable video. Because I swear to God, guys, I've lost those fights and I couldn't tell you why. Because I do not tap gently. Like, I tap like I'm trying to go through the floor. I do the whole spaz hand, you know, you just vibro your hand and go nuts. Like, if I put it on the carpet, it would efface the carpet away. I could buff your lobby with this kind of spin power, but I still lost. It was really dumb. It makes me mad. Because I know that I'm not the fastest tapper in the world. I had a friend who was the fastest tapper I've ever seen. Like, you know how people say they've got a friend who's really good at something, and half the time they're probably lying because they want to fit into the conversation and sound like they've got something important in their life? This isn't that. This dude was that good. Like, this guy was incredible. I've never seen out like it. I couldn't match him. There's nothing I could do. I could have got a pen or a sock and just rubbed between the two buttons with my fingers on each end to make sure I couldn't over swipe it, and he'd still beat me tapping. That's how fast he was. Like, he could do 6 seconds in the 100 meters on international track and field. He was a fucking god. He wasn't very good at anything else, and he was, you know, I don't really want to do a character assassination on this random friend of mine from my past, but he was crazy good at that. That was the one thing that he has that I would never be able to beat him on. Not even if I tried for 100 years. He just has twitch muscle fibers, or whatever you want to call it. He has speed in his ability to tap. I don't. I can go pretty quick, and I don't traditionally lose quick time events, but there's something about getting chainsawed in this game on the harder difficulties where it really bumps the old confidence. And I'd love to know what it's about. I really would. Because my reflexes are still pretty good considering I'm like 50. You know, I can't fault my reflexes. I've always had pretty decent reflexes. But even then, like, you know it's coming, you tap that button and then they chainsaw you. And they never do it at the beginning of a fight. It's always the last enemy, and that's what makes it even more terrifying. But this was a really dangerous room, and you might be wondering, Chris, couldn't you have found a better place to stand than this? This seems really passive and really defensive, and it is, but it works. And the answer is no, because I didn't die. If I'd have died here, I'd have probably found a different strategy, but when it works, why mess with it, right? Because there's always an interesting counterbalance in my head that I go through when I make a walkthrough. And the one side is, what if my strategy is too high execution? Because I cannot teach you how to get better at a game. If you're not very good at a game, or if you have a weakness in a certain area where I have a strength, it's difficult to cross that void and get you there. So you might have to do something different. So every so often when there's a strategy that shows itself that's not that intensive, I try to go for that. And it goes against me as a person because I like to put my stamp on things. And I would rather there be a really difficult shot, but it ends a fight quickly, than doing a really easy shot that makes the fight long. But in an encounter such as this one, with really aggressive new enemies, I don't feel too bad about this strategy as I stare at my dad, and we move forward. The last guy is in the building, and it's a sniper, and I'm quite intimidated because it was a long fight, so bear with me. But if you've ever played Gears of War multiplayer, you will be well versed in angling the camera to look around geometry to try and find an opponent, because that's 90% of what you used to do in almost every map. Somebody hiding in Mausoleum, gotta find him. Somebody hiding in the, what was it called, Swamp Marsh or something? I forget the name of that. Bullet Marsh, right? It was really dark. Locusts could hide on that stage for days. Hell, even Fuel Depot people used to hide. But I'm trying to get him to peek out, and he doesn't. So I move up here, and then I see him on that balcony, I think. So looking around, waiting for the head to pop, because you know it's going to happen. Can you see him? I can't. There he was, see him? And then somebody shot at him. And now I know he's up there, so now I know I'm probably safe. But pretty long fight. And I don't know how safe your head is there, because Gears is one of those strange games that when you look at someone in cover you can see their head, but the AI can't shoot it usually, unless you're in prologue on this game and then it's bullshit. But in the multiplayer that doesn't work. One of the first things you learn in multiplayer is that being in cover is not safe. Like, people are not used to it because the AI don't exploit it, but if somebody has a long shot and you're in cover they will take your head every time. That's why you'll notice when people are in cover they move a lot. They're always moving to make that shot more difficult, turning left and right to move where their head profile is. There's a lot of that goes along with playing Gears. But that's how you can generally spot a new player as well when you play multiplayer, if they use cover a lot. Because a lot of the times in multiplayer, people use cover as a tool more so than a haven. But run up into this building. I think you can pick up the dude's sniper rifle if you want it. There's also a boom shot up here, which is quite cool. The next room is going to be a carrier, which is our first encounter with a new enemy type. He's not so bad. He takes a massive beating, but what doesn't? And you do more damage on him when he opens his chest up. But fundamentally, as long as you've got some grenades and you've got a couple power weapons, you can put this guy down pretty quickly. He fires spores at you, like nemesis things, and you can shoot them before they get to you, and they leave almost a pool of emulsion behind, some crazy swarm juice, and if you stand in it, you're dead. So you want to be really careful. It also will ruin fortifications, which is one of the worst things. But I'm going to be carrying a buzzsaw because you saw the damage it did to the Snatcher, so I'm going to do the same thing. I think this is called a buzzkill, right? I always call it the wrong thing. I call Deadeyes dead shots, and I call this buzzsaw, and it's not buzzsaw because that's such a dumb name. It's too literal, right? It's got to be buzzkill. It's got to be Gunface, the ultimate manly name. Cockhammer. But you have to walk up to the door to trigger this, and it's a really good opportunity to chuck a bunch of grenades. I was very tempted to try and grenade tag him during the animation, but I'm almost certain he'll kill you. Because here's what you need to know about carriers. When you are close, they have a proximity-based grab, which is an animation, and it instantly kills you. However, they can't do anything else except for a ground pound that they telegraph, and a chest blast that they telegraph as well. So if you're really, really bold, you can stand in their face with a shotgun and shoot them a lot. I've done it numerous times as a scout in Horde, but in Horde I've got way more HP, so it's not a problem. In this, probably going to die, so you got to be careful. But here he is. I'm going to hip fire all my rounds at him as best I can. He's firing at me, I need to move. Watch this. Whew! Look at that. Knew it was coming and he still got me, the bastard. But there goes the saw blades. Here comes the grenades. 2 grenades on his torso. He's opening his chest. Shoot him on his weak point and be careful of those things. This is a really dangerous place to be. Yeah. There's a planet where I didn't survive that just then. That was pretty crazy for me to commit to that. That's the normal chest one. Boom. Look at that. Very close to dying. But as dangerous as they are, once you get used to them, they're quite simple to control. I don't have too much of an issue with carriers. I got this second attempt, so that was pretty cool. But the next one we fight has a really safe room that makes him super easy. This one is a lot more difficult because the room is not as kind. There's the ground pound. You see him wreck the van? That was cool. There's the chest opening. You want to be really careful with these things too. That what I did just then can sometimes backfire, but my team shot the spores, which was really useful. So never underestimate how useful your team can be. There's another boom on the chest. Try another boom on the chest. I'm going to try and get behind this piece of cover here because it will hit the other side. Be careful of the ground. Did you see that? That was 1 second of being in the juice, and that's what it did. And then he fired another one. Area of denial is a very powerful tool when you're slow. But here he's going to be shooting something else. Up here is a refill on the grenades, and I think there's also a boom shot. Yeah, there you go. So feel free to use all your power weapons on this dude. I think he's going to die pretty soon. I don't think he's got much left in him. I'm putting the Lancer on, really? Come on, Chris, use the boom shot. Use the Lancer enough at this point. But he does certainly move around a lot. There's the chest one. It's quick, that one. And there's the big one with the spores. Still alive. What a bitch. That was really, really, really close just then. And then he's... Oh, we stunned him. That's when he falls down. I think you might be able to do something to him if you're close enough. And he's dead. So there you go. Very intimidating, but... I can't even begin to tell you how important playing Horde mode is. If you've played Horde a lot, there's certain times we have to kill 3 of those in 1 round. Can you imagine 3 of those in succession? You learn how to handle them and how to not panic. So, if you're having trouble with them, guys, the more you fight them, the easier they get. Thank you for watching, and you take care now.